Hey everybody, Kylie Fignano here, registered dietitian specializing in gut health. Today I wanted to actually talk about something that is a little less in your face with information on how to change your diet or supplements to take and things like that, and a little bit more internal, a little bit more mindful, a little bit more being aware, which actually I think can sometimes be a lot harder. But it's important because this has a lot to do with how you decide when to take action. How you decide when it is time for you to start reaching out, and not only deciding to reach out, but what are you reaching for and why? So I'm going to pose a few questions. And if you are the journaling type, if you're the type of person who enjoys pen to paper or even typing something out or putting it in your note in your phone, now might be a good time to kind of pause and grab that, because I think having a little understanding of exactly what it is that you actually need, or more importantly, what it is that you aren't quite aware of yet. What do you not know about the things that you need and are looking for? This is going to be really, really helpful. So the first thing that I want you to think about, and these questions are for those of you who are anywhere on the spectrum of not feeling well. So on one side, you might just start to have experience, you just might be starting to experience things like bloating and diarrhea and constipation or heartburn, or, generally speaking, discomfort that might have anything to do with your digestion or an autoimmune disease perhaps. And on the other end are those of you who have been suffering for months to years. So this stuff is not new to you. You've tried everything. You don't know where you're going at this point. You feel really hopeless and a little bit desperate. So, and then there's all of these things that sort of fall in between. So you could be anywhere on that spectrum. The point is that once you get over here and you no longer have any understanding of what else you can do for yourself, the next step is figuring out, what is the next step? Who do you reach out to? Who can you reach out to? What are the available options? That's what I want to try to help people figure out. For those of you who are on the other end, where you're just sort of starting to realize, oh man, this might be me. I'm not really sure. Or maybe you just got a diagnosis of IBS or IBD, and you're wanting to try some things on your own, which I completely think is wonderful. But at some point, you're going to be in a position where you might have to take action. You might have to have a really good understanding of what you're looking for and what you need. And that's what this is about. I want you to plan for when that time comes so that you know exactly what you're doing, what you're looking for, who you want to say yes to, who you want to say no to. So here are some questions that I think are going to be really helpful. And I ask my clients some of these questions before I even agree to get on a phone call to see if we're a good fit, because it's that important. So the first thing that you might ask yourself is, in the next 3 to 6 months, maybe you pick a different time frame, what if nothing changes? What if nothing changes in the next 3 to 6 months and you continue to feel the way that you are feeling right now? What does your world look like? What does that feel like physically, emotionally? What does it mean for your family or your children or your partner or your friends? What does it mean for your job? What does it mean for going places? What does it mean for you? What does that look like? So get really clear about that. Maybe even jot it down. And then on the flip side, in 3 to 6 months, if you could solve every single complaint that you currently have about your health, what would that feel like? Would it give you a sense of freedom? Would you no longer have to worry about where the bathroom was? Would you be able to come off of a medication? Would you be able to stop carrying around a small bathroom cabinet of supplements and medications? Would you be able to go out to eat freely? Would you be able to feed your family without having to think about it? Would you feel less stressed about food in general? What does that look like for you? And again, depending on where you are on the scale, these things are going to change and be different. And as you move up or down the scale, your answers to this might change. So maybe you revisit some of these questions in another 2 or 3 months and see, have my answers changed? How am I kind of progressing through the way that I'm feeling? What is in your way right now from reaching out for help and guidance? Is it because you're afraid of having a better understanding of what's really going on? Because what if it's something really terrible? That's totally valid. What if I have a parasite? What if I'm really actually quite unwell? What if? All of that stuff is so fair. It's so fair. It could be really overwhelming and a little bit scary to learn about those things. What I would say to you is that or maybe a question to ask yourself is, will you be more unnerved learning what's going on with you so that you have action to take? Or does it feel more unnerving now, knowing that you don't feel well and worrying about the anticipation of understanding more? It's going to go either way for some of you. So it's a fair, really, really real question. Is it money? Is the person that you want to do work with, the person who you think could get you the best answers, just really expensive? Is it not covered by insurance? Do you need to work on saving up to be able to do the thing that you want? Do you need to put it on a credit card? Do you need to get a loan? I've seen people do some crazy things in order to get the crazy type of support and answers and healing that they're looking for. Is that part of what's blocking you? Do you not have support? This is a really big one. If you do not feel supported internally and by the people who are closest to you and the most important to you in your life, that can be really challenging. Those are really hard conversations. But being aware that that might be something that's in your way is a really important starting point. You can't have those conversations if you don't even know that they're part of the problem. So just a question that's worth thinking about. And then this question is really important. This is especially important for those of you who might just be in the beginning or middle stages of starting to feel like, wow, something is really not okay here. I want you to ask yourself, and I want you to develop an answer, a bottom line for yourselves. What needs to happen in order for me to throw my hands up and say, I'm going to get some help. I'm going to get a little guidance here. And I don't mean that it has to be some really tragic, dramatic thing. That's not the case. Maybe it is for you. But for some people, it might simply be the first time that I cannot have a bowel movement for 4 days in a row. I am no longer willing to deal with that level of discomfort. I am going to seek help. For somebody else, it might be, I'm going to try this medication, and if I don't feel better in 3 months, then I'm going to reach out for somebody. Decide what that thing is for you so that you can plan. That way, you have next steps to look forward to all the time. This will help you avoid getting into a place where you're like, I just have no idea what the hell to do. I don't know. You might still not know what to do, but you're going to know what steps to take to be able to figure out what to do. And that changes everything. This question can be really interesting. I want you to think about, how much is your health worth to you? Can you put a number on it? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Is there a number that is going to describe how much your health actually is worth to you? I think it's important to think about in that way, simply because a lot of the things that we find most supportive and most helpful are often outside of what insurance is going to cover, and that can make it a little bit challenging and really frustrating. So these are just some things to think about. I encourage you to really sit with them and see what comes up for you and decide exactly how you are going to take action for yourself. This is a plan for you. See what comes up. Good luck.